novelty, of people needing to look cool, looking knowledgeable and all that stuff. And because of that, I see a lot of coaches who are starting to use training methods, approaches to training, that they have not mastered. The typical example being the Olympic lifts, okay? Now, you have these guys taking a weekend course in Olympic weightlifting, and all of a sudden they're using these lifts with all of their clients, regardless of their needs and capacity. Even worse, that the coach, before doing that weekend class, basically had no Olympic lifting experience. Now, the Olympic lifts are not as complex as some people believe, but they're not super simple either. And because they are somewhat complex, you need to have a profound understanding of the mechanics of the movement to be able to know how to teach them, which strategies to use, which coaching drills you will use with what client, what speed of progression you can use. And a weekend course cannot give you that. Just because after a weekend you are capable of doing a fairly competent power clean with the empty bar doesn't qualify you as a training expert. I mean, you could, if you give these exercises to people who are not ready for them, and you're not even capable of teaching proper progression, that's a recipe for disaster, okay? But coaches will do that because they don't want like they're being left out. Because clients say, oh, he's doing the Olympic lifts, I want to do that, that looks cool. And because you don't want to look incompetent as a trainer, you will teach them the Olympic lift, or what you think are the Olympic lifts. And you can do a lot more harm than good. Now, but that's the same for kettlebell swings, for example. Kettlebell swings, seemingly a simple exercise, but in most gyms, I rarely see people do them right. Most people do it's a squat, they're doing like a squat. And more often, just like a front raised, slightly cheated. And they are being coached doing the exercise that way. I mean, you have people who spend weeks, months, just mastering the basic kibi swing. Just like you have people spending months just learning the optimal way of doing the Olympic lifts. And all of a sudden, you think that just because you had a weekend course, you can become a teacher. I mean, that's why I stopped doing seminars about the Olympic lifts. Because I realized that I was doing more harm than good. Because I gave these people the belief that they were competent on not only doing, but teaching the Olympic lift just because I taught them for 2 days. How pretentious was that of me to believe that I was such an amazing teacher that I can turn someone into an Olympic lifting coach in a weekend. That's stupid. People spend months just trying to learn the basics, and to be able to teach these movements, you have to know a lot more than just being competent in the basics. You need to understand all these different teaching sequences, how to address learning issues, how to correct problems. And that doesn't come from a weekend course, or much less from watching a YouTube video, right? So you have the same thing with like CrossFit, right? You have coaches, while your clients, I really like to do CrossFit. Or I can teach you CrossFit. And they do all kind of crazy shit, which is even worse than the original CrossFit, which was really bad. So the message here is, if you're not fully competent in a training method, in a training approach, don't use it. You're going to do more harm than good just trying to look cool and competent in the eye of your client. You're training them to look good instead of making them better. And that's the number one sin of coaching.